Oh, hello there, Outliers. Niiamah Ashong here, and thank you so much for letting us be a part of your journey today. Today, we get to go and have an in-depth conversation with an outlier here who continues to play the game, sees life differently, and is using it to increase her impact out in the world in a way that is just like very much aligned with her. Today, we have Schamet Horsfield. Shamat, it's an absolute pleasure to be in space with you. Thank you for playing the game that you play, and thank you for making time to be here with us, Outliers.
Yeah, it's wonderful to be here. Thank you so much for having me on.
Yeah, I'm excited to play. It's funny, so sometimes I'll turn on the microphone and it feels a lot more smooth than what I'm feeling inside. And what I'm feeling inside right now is a lot of excitement. I'm excited for Outliers to get to know you, and I'm excited to get to know you as well. Would you mind like letting us know more about you and the game that you're currently playing?
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you so much for having me on. My name is Schamet Horsfield, and I actually came from a bit of a rough start in life. And that rough start has been the cracks that have cracked me open to my own personal healing journey. And I knew as a little girl that I was here to change the world and create a new paradigm, a better life. I didn't know the words for that when I was little, but I knew that I had a big mission, and I knew that I was a leader, and I knew that I had come here just to make the world a better place. The rough start that I had with my own birth family and the generational wounds and the patterns that came with that, I feel have been my teaching and really putting me on the path of my soul path purpose and my mission, which is helping anyone I can really come from their trauma, their triggers, their wounds, their emotional wounds, and turning that into a work of art, something beautiful. Like I love the scarab beetle for the symbolism of transformation. They actually roll their shit, their dung, into a perfect sphere. So and they make it into something beautiful. And the lotus flower as well, it grows up out of the murky pond and creates this beautiful flower. And so really my whole mission and purpose in life is transforming wounds into wisdom, and then taking that wisdom into superpowers, which, I love superheroes and what they represent, but not just the wounds to the wisdom. Like that's part of it. But then what do we actualize? What do we take from that wisdom? And then what do we do with it? And so it's the next level of actualization and leadership, which is, I think, why you've contacted me, is because I am here to lead and show the way. And I love helping my clients and my family and anyone really upon their awakening journey. Another kind of tagline that I have for my business is awaken, align, transform, shine. So I help my soul clients awaken to their spiritual awakening or their awakening of their gifts, awakening to who they've come here to be. Like we're all here for a reason. And then I help them align to their soul purpose and their mission. And I believe we all have a unique brand of magic to bring to the world. And then I help them transform anything that's getting in the way of their leadership and who they've come here to be. And then shine, bring those gifts to the world and do what you're doing, going and making a difference and voicing what we've come here to bring to make this world a better place. I really believe that we have the power to create heaven on earth. uh, there's a lot of people creating some hell on earth too. So everyone's got a different energy and mission and thing to bring. But I've seen firsthand as a young person, I've watched people recreate their generational wounds and patterns and be stuck in that and birth their own personal hell and torment on the planet. And I know that we can break those cycles. I know that there can be a quantum jump in the psychology, in the consciousness that takes that same person that's been recreating that hell on earth and break free and move into their own personal leadership where they can start creating their own personal heaven and be happy and joyful, and then it spreads. And so I believe that if we can all awaken, align, transform, and shine, then we can birth the new paradigm, which is it's a pretty groovy planet to live on in this new paradigm. So that's my mission.
Well, I appreciate you starting out here with your mission because, like, that's what this is about. It's about being able to step into the mission and being able to create that mission out in a way that both impacts others, but also makes sure that your income is also good and do it in a way that's like in integrity to you. So, I love that we're bringing in like a massive mission right off the bat here. And Shabbat, as you're talking, there were certain things that you were saying that were really just seemed like grounds from that sparked my curiosity. Would you mind if I dive into a few of them with you?
Absolutely.
All
Let's
right, great.
dive in.
So you talk about wounds into wisdom and then wisdom into superpowers. I was actually just recently having a conversation with someone who was a coach, and she had gotten to the place where she would gotten people to a place where they would be able to be healed and almost like become neutral, but then afterwards, like there was a gap, and so when I hear you speak, it's actually really quite interesting to me because I'm like, this is what we're talking about. Like to be able to go from healing to something beyond that, to being able to create and to give and to add as a result of that. So I wanted to know if you can just speak here from your experience around um, like wounds to wisdom, what that journey is typically like, and then like that next step of like taking it from the wisdom side to actually bringing it out into real life. There's something really real in that.
Yeah, thank you. I'll speak about my own journey. Um, I discovered at a young age that I could manifest, and I could manifest really quickly. And so, as a young person in my early 20s, I started making lists. I want to manifest this man on this postcard. I want him to look like this and blah, 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 blah. And then it would happen like immediately. And I manifested about 3 different partners, but then they turned to custard, hell in the handbasket, right? Started out really good, like exactly on my list. Seems like a dream come true. And then once you get in there, like not so good. So I took a break from manifesting completely. And I got in touch with my wisdom and my healing. I went on a healing quest. I did lots of different healing modalities, worked with coaches, therapists, and really looked within. And I realized, okay, manifesting is definitely real. I can do it. The wisdom there is that I need to pause and I need to do my own healing work. And so then that's the turning that wisdom into the superpowers of, okay, I've got these superpowers, but I've also got this kryptonite that is getting in the way and blocking me from ultimately being able to manifest. This is another book, right, that I'm working on, is why we don't manifest. And it's because of our wounds, and it's because of those generational patterns that can get in the way and we don't even realize it. So even though I had manifested what I thought that I wanted and needed, I was also manifesting all of the wounds and the patterns that I have not had not at that point healed within myself. So, the classic bringing in a partner that's abusive because they're like your stepdad kind of scenario. I mean, it really hit me when my mom said, "Oh, he reminds me of your stepdad." I thought, oh boy, I need to stop and pause. And I see this so often where people want to manifest, but they haven't done the healing work. So then I worked on healing myself and went through that whole journey and took a year off of manifesting and a year off of relationships and created a relationship with myself and learned to love myself. And then I worked with a coach as well because we can't see our own blind spots, and worked with that coach on manifesting my next partner. And I've been with him now for 26 years, two beautiful children. And I come from a long line of divorces and relationships not working. So, it's one thing to transform those wounds into your wisdom, but then the actualization piece of being able to then, have it be successful is doing that personal growth work, is going within, is doing the healing. Now I'm in the relationship 26 years later. Is it a fairy tale? Is it a dream come true? Well, yes, it is. But all fairy tales have light and dark. And so my healing journey has never stopped. My growth has never stopped. I think a lot of us think we're going to reach a destination and then we're there and there's not much more to do, but I think that's a fallacy. I continue to up level, like what you were talking about. Um, we reach a place in our leadership and then we need to up level and up level. And I don't think it stops. I think it continues and we up level to different degrees and then have to reflect and then there's more. And I think that just keeps going
I
until we move on to the next plane of existence, right? And then
I
that's
like I
probably going to
said,
be another whole new up level.
I want to. I thank you for bringing this in. Like I'm seeing some things as you're saying it, and you came to the up leveling part, and I'm kind of curious about like up leveling and healing. Like how did the two of them line in there? And I really appreciate that you spoke about your experience. So let's keep giving outliers an opportunity to see this here. One of the things that I find is that like there's a certain there's a certain way like whenever I'm going up against my next level, um, something happens where like at the core of what I'm trying to get done, um, there's this core, almost like a core boss that I have to keep like beating in order to move forward. For me, it's a fear of being alone, right? And so and it doesn't look the same way each time. Like first time it was like physically being alone. Recently it's been about like I haven't seen anyone else do podcast panels. Like, can I go out and do that myself? Like is this actually going to work? And so I'm curious here when you talk about like up leveling and what I get from you is that you've consistently done this, you have experience with it. How does that mold with the healing journey and like is it like yeah, how does that mold with the healing journey and things that you may have felt that you've already healed that maybe either show up again or that whether it exposes new wounds or new things that need healing, or if you like go a different path as you continue leveling up. Hopefully that question makes sense. I understand I add a lot of words towards the end, so let me know if you need me to say it back to you
Okay.
succinctly.
No, I love that. I love that question. It's multi-layered and multifaceted. So I'll try to answer it the best that I can. Just the loneliness piece to begin with. There's a lot of different wounds, and that's the book that I'm writing, and the oracle deck that's coming out. It's Wounds to Wisdom, Wisdom to Superpowers, and it is about feeling into whatever wound is there. And I believe life is a mirror, so we get these mirrors reflecting back where we are. And just like an onion, there's layers, and we peel off one layer and then we get to another one and we go to the root. And, loneliness, that's a wound that you can invite to your table and sit with and learn from instead of pushing it away, which most people do, spiritually bypassing or emotionally bypassing. and not dealing with the wounds um, means that there's more mirrors and more. Basically, if we don't deal with our shit, it will just keep getting bigger and bigger and louder and louder. But if we invite these wounds or these triggers or these issues to the table like a friend and listen to them and see what they have to say, then we're bringing a wholeness back to our own inner psychology. So there's most likely something under that loneliness that is a teacher, is a friend, is a wisdom for you to bring in, an invitation to our wholeness. And so that's the way that I see things, is that, you know, all the wounds and the triggers are our treasures, by the way. When you have a trigger, that is an invitation for healing. That's oh, let's look at that. Can we go treasure hunting and see what the trigger has for us or the wound? If someone really upsets you, for example, you can go, oh, isn't that interesting? Gosh, they really got me all wound up. I wonder what's really going on inside of me. And then the more that we do that, then the less and less triggers we'll have, right? And we become more and more peaceful and more whole and more confident within our skin. Um, I feel like there's more to answer of your question, but I can't remember all of it.
Well, let's start with where we are right now, right? Because
Okay.
one of the things that I heard here was if you're not actually addressing the thing and you're pushing something away, then it continues to grow. You know,
Yes, it can
uh,
snowball.
it can snowball, and it's interesting right now because it's definitely something that I'm going to put some into some consideration because I do notice like repeating themes. And for me, it ends up being like it's something looks different, but if I dive deep enough into it, it all comes back to the same thing. Um, there's something in it
Yes, repeat. If a pattern keeps repeating,
Mhm.
it's
Yeah.
knocking at your door.
Yeah, yeah, and like it's funny because like you talked about it being, remember you said triggers are treasures. I was like, I guess wounds are wittens, but like from that place there, the I could feel like the invitation to bring it to the table. Like I've gotten to the point where it's like, oh, now I recognize it's not a bad thing. I now recognize like I don't really run into this issue unless I'm playing at a different level or I'm going to a different level. And so like
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, oh, thanks for letting me know. I was approaching this as if this was just a Tuesday or just like a Wednesday, but it actually turns out there's something significant going on here. Let me spend the time and slow down and like address it appropriately. I see you nodding. Want to see? Is there anything you want to add to that?
Yeah, I feel like everything is meant to be for a reason. And when I say that, it's there's a big responsibility there, right? Because people go, "Oh, well, this person died or this tragedy happened. How can that be for my highest and best good?" And yeah, it's a big thing to say. Everything happens for a reason. But this has been my experience. I just recently, in Hawaii, I dropped my iPhone and I had all my credit cards, my ID, everything in there. So very expensive iPhone and everything dropped into the ocean. And then I had to really like go, oh, well, everything happens for a reason. Like I had to like, really sit with that. And now, you know, I'm on the other side of it. Of course, in retrospect, in the moment, it's hard to digest, especially when, if it's worse than an iPhone kind of situation and it's, someone passing or something that, brings shame or blame or further traumatizes us or wounds us, it can feel like, really, this is happening for a reason. but it really does. And it's when time passes and you go, oh, okay, I couldn't rent the car in Hawaii. I lost the money on that. I lost my iPhone. I lost my ability to get around quite easily. But what came of it was beautiful. Like my husband really stepped up. He called Ubers for me wherever I went. I wasn't able to rent the car. However, I was still able to go. I went to Maui to see some girlfriends. I was still able to get there because I didn't lose my passport. But, it all worked out and it was a next level. It was an up level for me in accepting support and help from people, being able to surrender and let go, and up level in my spiritual path and purpose. And then from there, I met all these amazing people and had all these incredible experiences that I would not have had. And so, yeah, when you say it's not a Monday or a Tuesday, but there's something going on here, there was a reason why you contacted me and we're having this conversation. And then this conversation is going to be heard by people that need to hear our words. And that is the way of things. That's the way things work. So I'm at the, coffee shop the next day going, oh my God. And because I was upset, it was my iPhone. It's going to be expensive to get a new one, all of that, right?
Yeah. Thanks for being
But I
real.
talked to
Yeah.
this guy at the coffee booth and he says, well, why are you so upset you've lost your phone? And I said, well, it's my symbol of freedom. He goes, freedom? And I said, yeah, with my phone and my credit cards, I can go wherever I want. I'm free to have a rental car or book a ticket or pay for food. And he says, that's interesting. He goes, because I don't see freedom like that because you don't seem very free right now. You're very upset. And I said, yeah, huh. He goes, I gave up my phone. I have no credit cards and I've never felt freer. And I said, wow. And he goes, yeah, it's lovely. I have so much freedom. So I redefined my values of what freedom means in that whole situation. And being off the grid and not being on social media. And like, actually, it felt really free. I have to say, because I had all this stuff planned, I was going to do all these things and then I couldn't do them. And in that, I unchained the shackles of what keeps us from the freedom. And then, I come back to New Zealand. And of course, now I have a new phone. It's even a better one. I've got all my cards back. I've got my driver's license back. Like, what did I really lose? The things I lost were the attachments that I felt hanging on and not being able to surrender and let go as much as I could have. And, everything happens for a reason. If I'm going to be a spiritual teacher, I need to be able to surrender and let go to the teachings when they come as well. So I know that happened for a reason. And I think everything does. There's been a lot of tragedy in my life. And I know without a shadow of doubt that every single thing, every tragedy has been a blessing. And so, can we, in those moments, reach for the support that we need, reach for the guidance that we need to know that that tragedy or that sorrow is going to cultivate within us the wisdom that either our soul needs or someone else does. And then can we take that wisdom and turn it into our superpower? I mean, we've seen Tony Robbins do it. Look at him. He had a very difficult upbringing and all that, pressure, like the diamond is coal and it's the pressure of, pounding on that coal that turns it into a diamond. And same with swords. I can't remember the word that they used, but they basically beat the sword and then it becomes strong and
Mm.
sharp. And so, how can we cultivate that resilience from all the things that we think have gone wrong? And that's how I live my life.
I can
So,
feel it.
yes, you were meant to meet me today.
Yeah, I can feel it. I can feel it in like the conversation and the way that things are flowing here. Like, um, yeah, that feels really good. Um, Shemet, I am grateful for you. We like kind of went through our time very, very quickly.
It went
Um,
really
it
fast,
went
didn't
really
it?
fast. I'm like, well, I have for my next question. I'm like, oh, we have to wrap up here. But I love this here, right? And I'm gonna go play with what you're saying here, which is like, and there's a reason for that too, right? I appreciate you because uh, each time I do one of these conversations, I look for how it's I sometimes artificially create it being different than it needs to be. Turns out I like having a conversation. Like I like to have the conversation with different people, um, and I got something from this conversation that was really beneficial for me, which was just to be able to put something into the space and allow the question itself to evolve and to take on rather than having to try and like breathe life into it. And I think that's because of you and the way that you both choose to listen, choose to be present, and choose to expand on what's put out here. So I just want to say thank you to you, Shamat. Um,
And can I add that I feel your superpower in that wound of loneliness is you have cultivated this podcast where you reach out to people like me and other change agents and leaders. And so, in a way, that wound of loneliness has cultivated in you this passion and purpose to connect. And so there is a treasure and a blessing that that loneliness brings. And my wounds I know are my wisdom and my superpowers again and again and again. So that's my invitation for you and for anyone that's watching right now. When there's something that you feel is broken, it's not broken. You are not broken. No one's broken. The wounds are there to teach us. We've all come here on this planet for many reasons, but my mission, my purpose is to remind people and bring them to the awareness that they are not broken and they're not wrong. We're all here learning. And it's a planet of duality, of light and shadow. And within the shadow is the light. We just have to find
I
it.
love this year. Well, Outliers, like this was an incredible conversation. And I ask you, if there's someone in your world who would really benefit from hearing this conversation, please take the time to share this episode with them. It's and like it's my ask to just bring one person into this space here. You can share it on your socials, you can share it in like on your different platforms. And for the purposes of this invitation, is to find one person who would really benefit from hearing this conversation and let them know why. I have this thing, Shamat, that like I feel like there's the promotion of things, and then there's something else that happens through the ongoing gift of one person going to another and saying, "I was thinking of you," and here goes your gift through this conversation. Because I feel if we can do that, there's someone out there, there are many people out there who would deeply resonate with what it is that you're saying today and needed to hear that message. Like you said, everything happens for a reason. So, Outliers, my invitation is for you to be one of the reasons today. All right. So, Shemet, we're about to wrap up our conversation. And the way that we do that here is that at this point, I believe the outliers have gotten what outliers are going to get from it. Like they're good. Where I like the rest to go is to make sure that they have a way to continue down the journey with you. So if you can share with us like the best ways for them to stay in your world. And then I also like to like make sure like to see from you like what's one of your insights from today's conversation. How have you grown, or what are you taking away from this conversation? And if the answer is like I don't have any insights, that's cool too. You know. So, would you mind sharing with us how outliers can stay in your world, and then also an insight you got from this conversation?
Well, I'll start with the insight that I got. And I just had a channeled reading a few days ago. And he says, you need to be putting yourself out there more, my dear. Like you've been in your little cocoon, writing your book and doing all your creative stuff and meeting with your clients, but you need to do more podcasts and you need to be doing public speaking and right? And he goes, you love that stuff. And I'm like, and he's like, let's do something together. I'm like, okay, let's do it. So that it's a reminder that I love doing podcasts and summits and public speaking and just getting out there. It lights me up like a lighthouse. I'm like, oh, this is
Well,
fun.
you said shine, right? You did say shine in your
Yeah,
fourth step
it's the
here, so
shine
this is it.
aspect. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, that's awesome.
So I'm feeling good. I'm feeling real high vibe, from our time together and just getting that information out there.
Yeah.
So thank you for this opportunity. I'm very, very grateful and so nice to meet you. You have such a beautiful energy. I'm so glad you're doing this work. Just feeling a lot of gratitude. I have a website. It's www.schamethorsfield, which is my name.com. And you can actually put wounds to wisdom in, and that'll come up as well, or awaken the oracle within, which is a 7-week training on intuition and psychic development that I do, which is actually starting next week. Um, so you can put those in, and they'll lead you to my website as well. I'm also on YouTube. I've got a podcast, so there's, I'm out there for sure. I have a 30-minute soul purpose breakthrough session that is a free offering for new soul clients. And so, if you're hearing this message and you're going through some stuff and you need a little bit of support, or you're interested in working with me, it's a really great introduction session. Some people call it a clarity call, but it really is a step up from a clarity call because I do an oracle reading and I'm clairvoyant and psychic so that I can kind of give you some guidance to kind of help you get started. And people love them. It's only 30 minutes, but you'd be surprised how much groundwork we can actually cover in 30 minutes. So if you're needing a little emotional support, spiritual guidance, or just want to connect in with me and see if we're in alignment, soul purpose breakthrough session. And I'll send that link to you so you can put that in. I also have a free quiz, and that's finding your soul purpose. Um, and it's a bit of fun. It's a free quiz, a psychic superpower quiz. I've also got some free guides on my website. So if you go to the website, you'll see all the freebies there. It's a Awaken the Oracle Within guidance, a little guidebook I made up. But there's a few bits and pieces on there to just kind of give people an idea of how it is to work with me. I also have some Facebook groups. Awaken the Oracle Within is one of the groups that I do, and another one I do is Wounds to Wisdom to Superpowers. And I come into those groups live and do oracle readings.
Look at that.
So
So you're
many
covered.
different ways.
Yeah, you're definitely covered, outliers. Choose your adventure on this one here.
Yeah.
Shamet, thank you so much for spending the time with us. Thank you for creating the experience so you can come and share those experiences with us here. And outliers, like just know this year, I'm thinking about you and remember this until the next time that we talk here. Be you on purpose. Journey on.